In this special hour of the program, we're going to be talking with Dr. Betty Martini about aspartame. And we'll take your calls later on as well on Coast to Coast AM. Aspartame was discovered in 1965 by James Slatter. It's a chemist working for G.D. Searle and Company. Slatter had synthesized aspartame in the course of producing an anti-ulcer drug candidate. He accidentally discovered its very sweet taste when he licked his finger, which had become contaminated with aspartame. And following initial testing, two activists concerned about food additives asserted these tests had indicated that aspartame may cause cancer in rats. And as a result, the Food and Drug Administration did not approve its use as a food additive in the United States for many years until politics came in. Dr. Betty Martini spent 22 years in the medical field, founder of the Mission Possible International organization that educates you about the dangers of aspartame. Dr. Martini works with world experts and has operations in most states and over 30 countries. Here she is back on Coast to Coast AM. Hello, Betty. How are you?
Oh, just great, George. Glad to be back.
Good. How did you get involved with talking about aspartame?
Well, I had a friend who got Parkinson's, and he appeared to be dying. And from a medical background, I know you don't get diagnosed one day and start this process. He couldn't remember. His arms and legs would kick out like Michael Fox. And a physician happened to tell me that aspartame was a literal poison, and that's when I asked to be introduced to the world expert, Dr. H.J. Roberts, and he told me that the man was probably taking his medicine, L-Dopa, with a Diet Coke, and it was interacting, and of course that's exactly what happened, and as soon as he got off of it, the reactions disappeared. So I read Dr. Roberts' first book about aspartame and found out, that it mimics and precipitates MS, seizures. All of a sudden, I was getting people off of it. They'd walk out of wheelchairs. Their seizures would stop. And I asked Dr. Roberts, I said, are we talking about a global epidemic? He said, yes. And so we set up Mission Possible International as a global volunteer force now in 40 nations of the world. Nobody gets paid, just to educate the people to get them off of it because
Fantastic.
It's so poisonous.
Now, Betty, as you go around to various countries, what do they say about aspartame? Are they using it? What's going on?
Well, it's interesting because I've just got back from traveling to many countries, and I really wanted to see how far we'd gotten the word spread. And I was amazed that in countries like Croatia, Corsica, Albania, all you do is mention it, and they say it's poison. We've been told to stay off of it. And many times they'll tell you horror stories about using it and people that got very sick on it and headaches and joint pain and MS. But I also traveled to Italy, walked in the streets of Pompeii, in Naples, Sicily, Venice, Spain, everywhere. As soon as you mention it, they say that's a poison.
Is it an additive in these countries?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It is.
When I was in Croatia, for instance, I would see things like Orbit gum and soda with aspartame, but nothing like we have in America in processed foods. They buy their vegetables on the street, and the people are slim and beautiful. You don't see the obesity because they don't have as many of these chemicals. But, yes, it's because of the Diet Coke, it's gotten into many countries where it wasn't. In fact, I have a friend who was married to Oleg Cassini's brother in Italy, and she said they used to have a saying there, if you want to get embalmed, go to America and use their NutraSweet. But eventually it came to Italy as well, but just not as much. In fact, someone there told me, he says, the big problem in Italy is that they put it in so many medications. And I said, that's the same thing that we have here in America. And we have a flyer, waiter, please take this neurotoxin off the table. And that was given to, many restaurants everywhere that we went, and that was extremely helpful. But in every case, they already knew.
Didn't they change the name of aspartame? Isn't it called amino something now?
Amino sweet.
Yeah, that's.
And this is the reason why, obviously, there's no place to hide anymore. And the other thing is, this is the most deceiving name because it's the free methyl alcohol that sweetens aspartame and not the amino acids. And they want to get away from that free methyl alcohol because it's been exposed so much. The UK Aspartame Awareness Campaign has petitioned food standards in England to eliminate anything that's got free methyl alcohol in it, and has sent them many questions about aspartame. So it's become such a big issue now that they want to get. If you go to the website Amino Sweet, you won't even see methanol as a component of aspartame. It's actually a methyl ester that immediately becomes free methyl alcohol, but it's not even on their website.
What is it about aspartame that you believe is dangerous?
Well, the problem is that every component of aspartame is a poison. You have aspartic acid, which is an excitotoxin. That's a product that stimulates the neurons of the brain to death, causing brain damage. Dr. Blaylock wrote the book on it, Excitotoxins, The Taste That Kills. And then you've got this methyl ester that becomes free methyl alcohol, which is a severe metabolic poison, converts to formaldehyde, and according to the Krakow study, embalms living tissue and damages DNA. And then you've got 50% phenylalanine, which as an isolate is a neurotoxin that lowers the seizure threshold and depletes serotonin, causing all these psychiatric behavioral problems. And then the whole molecule breaks down to diketopiperazine, which is a brain tumor agent. And so because it damages the mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the cell, it interacts with drugs and vaccines and causes all kinds of neurodegenerative diseases and can precipitate diabetes and all these lists of symptoms that are on the FDA list: headache, dizziness, change of mood, abdominal pain, change in vision. Methyl alcohol makes them go blind. And so Dr. Roberts' medical text is over 1,000 pages of diseases that aspartame causes or triggers, especially birth defects, as we see autism rise. And every time we go back and look at the research, I know Dr. Stoller checked it on autism. It all started when aspartame was approved.
Just unbelievable. I want to read a little bit about aspartame here and how it got approved here. In January 21st, 1981, the day after Ronald Reagan's inauguration, G.D. Searle reapplied to the FDA for approval to use aspartame in food as a sweetener. The Reagan's new FDA commissioner, one Arthur Hall Hayes Jr., who has since now gone off to be a director of some companies, pharmaceutical companies and things like that, but he appointed a 5-person scientific commission to review the board's inquiry's decision, and it became clear that the panel would uphold the ban by a 3-2 decision. But Hall then installed a 6th member on the commission, and the vote became deadlocked. Then he personally broke the tie in aspartame's favor. He later left the FDA under allegations of impropriety, served briefly as the provost at the New York Medical College, and then took a position with Burstyn Marsteller, a public relations company for Monsanto and G.D. Searle. And since that time, he has never publicly spoken about aspartame. And in 1984, Monsanto bought G.D. Searle. They're in everything, my gosh.